In a distant icy sea, white icebergs floated silently on the water. They collided with each other, creating dry sounds. The cold seawater seemed to cut flesh. The humid and heavy air covered everything in that harsh scene. A sea turtle appeared. Its body was covered with thousands of barnacles, clinging tightly to its shell and legs, even penetrating the smallest crevices. A dry tree root was covered with barnacles and hooked onto its body. The root wrapped tightly around the turtle's body, holding it back like a natural trap. It was completely trapped, unable to move freely. Its strength gradually ran out in the bone-chilling cold. The turtle began to struggle to escape. Its weak legs continuously hit the water. It tried to use its strength to push the tree root out of its body. Each of its movements was slow. Seawater splashed around it. The tree root was stretched out. The barnacles on the roots rubbed against its shell, leaving small scratches. It persistently used its feet to pull at the roots. Little by little, the roots started to loosen. Finally, it broke free. The roots drifted away with the current. The turtle started swimming slowly. It headed towards the nearby shore. Each stroke was heavy. Its body was pulled down by the thick layer of cold water, making its joints stiff, but it still tried to move forward little by little. Meanwhile, in the distance on the sea surface, a red rescue boat appeared. The boat glided past the floating icebergs. The sturdy hull cut through the cold water. It was doing its routine patrol in the area on the deck. A girl stood at the mouth of the boat. She was wearing a thick, waterproof coat, holding binoculars firmly. She raised the binoculars to her eyes. Her eyes scanned the icy sea. The icebergs glided past her vision. Then she stopped at a small point in the distance. She spotted the turtle moving slowly. It clearly looked like it was having trouble. She lowered the binoculars, turned to. The colleague standing next to her pointed at the turtle. Both looked in that direction. The turtle was still swimming weakly among the icebergs. The turtle in their sight continued to try. It swam closer to shore. Its feet touched the cold sand under the water. It pulled its body ashore little by little. The seawater flowed down from its shell, leaving long trails on the sand. It used its feet to rub against its shell, trying to remove the barnacles that were clinging tightly. The barnacles refused to come off. Their hard shells stuck like glue. It scratched harder at its feet, but all efforts were in vain. The wounds on its body were clearly visible. Blood oozed from the places where it was rubbed. It moved slowly on shore, leaving faint footprints. Its condition was getting worse, but it kept trying. The girl on the boat. Observed for a while, she realized the seriousness of the situation. She quickly took out the helmet from her belt. Her fingers pressed the start button. She brought the helmet close to her mouth. Her voice rang out clearly over the sound of the waves. She announced the exact location of the turtle, requesting emergency assistance from the rescue center. The signal was sent through the radio. 0614 made a soft rustling sound. She held the device tightly in her hand, waiting for a response from the center. Her eyes were still glued to the turtle. She stood still on the deck. The boat was still quietly drifting past the ice floes. The steady sound of the engine could be heard from the rescue center, not far away. Another girl was working. She sat in front of a control panel full of screens and buttons. The headset was tightly strapped to her head. She heard the signal from the audio system. The request for assistance rang out clearly. She quickly noted the reported location. Without hesitation, she stood up from her chair. She ran to the area, the helicopter landing area. Her shoes stomped on the metal floor. She was wearing a thick orange jacket and a hard hat. She was sure the white helicopter was ready at the landing pad. She climbed into the cockpit. Her teammates followed her. The helicopter engine started. The propellers started spinning slowly, then gradually faster. The engine roared. The helicopter took off. It soared into the sky, heading straight for the turtle in the air. She looked out the window of the helicopter. The white icebergs stretched out below the cold wind blowing through the glass. She picked up the binoculars and brought them to her eyes, carefully observing the sea surface. Her eyes scanned each area and stopped at the turtle lying on the shore. Its body was full of barnacles. The bright red wounds were clearly visible under the dim light. She controlled the helicopter to lower the height of the propeller, causing seawater to splash. The helicopter landed on a piece of land near the turtle. She turned off the engine, opened the cabin door, and stepped out. Her shoes touched the cold sand. Her teammates followed behind them, carrying a large backpack of tools, approaching the turtle. Step by step, the girl came to the turtle. She knelt down on the sand, carefully checking its condition. Barnacles were all over its shell, its feet, and even its neck. She opened the backpack of tools, took out a bottle of cleaning solution. She opened the cap of the bottle, poured the solution little by little onto the turtle's body. She did it gently, avoiding touching the open wounds. The solution flowed down from its shell, seeping into the barnacles, loosening them. She used her hands to remove the barnacles that were easy to remove. Each one fell onto the sand, leaving red marks on the turtle's skin. She continued to pour the solution. Her hands moved slowly. Each area of its body was cleaned. The more stubborn barnacles needed more effort. She took a hard brush from her backpack. She held the brush firmly and rubbed it hard on the turtle's shell. Each piece of barnacle peeled off the shell. The sound of rubbing rang out regularly. She rubbed each small corner without missing any spots. She worked carefully to avoid further damage. The barnacles were too difficult to remove. She switched to a metal tool. She held the tool firmly, and its sharp tip pried each one off. She used just enough force. Each barnacle was separated from the shell. She focused on each movement. Sweat rolled down her forehead. Her hands began to get tired, but she did not stop. Her teammate standing next to her assisted her. He opened the tool backpack, took out the hard brush, gave it to her, then went to the metal tool. He prepared an additional bottle of solution that was placed next to him. He took a clean towel from a neatly folded bag nearby. He moved quickly. Everything was fully prepared. They coordinated smoothly. No one said anything, just focused on the turtle. The barnacles were gradually removed. The turtle's shell was revealed more clearly. The shiny shell began to appear. Its body gradually lightened. Each part was completely cleaned. After a long time of working, the job finally finished. The last barnacles were removed from the turtle's body. It was completely clean. She checked its entire body. The open wounds were wiped clean with a towel. She took a roll of bandages from her backpack. She cut each piece of bandage to cover each wound. She did it slowly, making sure the bandage was firmly fixed. She took a bag of food from her backpack, opened the bag, placed the food in front of the turtle. Jokingly, it smelled the food. It started to eat slowly. Each small piece, it swallowed. She sat still, watching it eat. The girl stood up. She walked around the nearby area, collecting the fallen dry tree branches and litter. She brought them near the turtle. She arranged each tree branch into a small pile. She took a lighter from her pocket. She lit it and lit it into the pile of trees. The small fire flared up. She added a few more branches. The fire grew bigger, giving off warmth all around. She pulled the turtle closer to the pile. The fire to warm her body. She sat down next to her hand, gently stroked its shell. The turtle lay still. Its breathing became more steady. She observed it for a while, checking every detail carefully. After making sure the turtle's health was stable, she stood up. She packed her tools into her backpack. She checked her backpack again, making sure nothing was left behind. Her teammates also cleaned up their poop. They returned to the helicopter together. She stepped into the cockpit, closed the door. She sat in the control seat. The helicopter engine started up again. The propeller rotated slowly, then faster. The engine roared. The helicopter took off. It flew high towards the rescue center. The engine sound gradually faded away, leaving the turtle on the shore. The fire was still burning steadily. The red rescue boat continued its journey. It glided over the floating icebergs. The hull cut through the cold water. The sea surface returned to calm the turtle. The turtle lay by the fire. Its body gradually warmed up. It began to move slowly. It turned its head towards the sea, preparing to swim back to the icy landscape, still as cold as before. But the turtle was saved. Everything returned to normal. The helicopter disappeared behind the white clouds. The boat patrol continued smoothly. Nothing changed.